Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast. It is 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Is the regular crowd about to shuffle it? I'm going to kill myself for that one. We are available at youtube.com/PaulGallant or twitch.tv/GallantSaysLive. We are also available after the fact at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts, it is up there. I was at Minute Maid Park about an hour or so ago, wrapping up some post-game coverage of the Astros' 6-4 victory over the Minnesota Twins to kick off their 2023 title defense. And, of course, just to open up the playoffs against the Twins. Tim Batchelor commenting already at youtube.com/PaulGallant. Woo! Go Stros. Go Stros indeed. This was a game that started off quite nice. You had, when the Astros were up to bat for the first time, on the very first pitch, and this was a theme of the game, I look down for a second. Next thing I know, I hear a crack. Ball's out of the park. I think that I might be perhaps the most ADD-riddled person when it comes to going to baseball games. I should be better. I don't know what it is, but I missed the Jose Altuve home run, number one. I missed the second Yordan Alvarez home run. This one wasn't my fault. The person sitting next to me on press row was looking for a charger, and some guy came around me looking underneath my table trying to help find a charger. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to help them find the charger. I go under the table, I hear a crack, and everyone loses their shit. Next thing I know, Yordan has hit a home run. And then when Yordan hit his home run a little bit later, I was looking down. I think it was crafting a tweet. I need to live in the moment. Maybe I need to get hit in the face with a baseball or something like that. But this thing started off with Altuve hitting that home run. It made you feel really good because it has been a struggle for the Astros at home. It also started off with not the best start by Justin Verlander, at least the first couple of innings. Because you take a look at the final numbers, they're really good. Verlander goes 6 innings, just 4 hits, 3 walks, not great, but 6 strikeouts. But the first couple of innings, it got dicey. First inning, Verlander walks the first batter he faces. Second batter gets a hit. But the Astros played some good defense. You get a double play right after those 2 runners on, so there's 2 outs. Next thing you know, there's another walk. But guess what? The Astros got out of that one as well. Second inning for Justin Verlander. He allows a single. There's a liner right at Jose Abreu. It's low. Abreu makes a great catch on that one after Correa led off with the single. You get another hit by the Twins. There's 2 runners on. There's another double play. Gets Verlander out of a jam. The third inning, it starts off with a double. And you're like, damn, Verlander, why, for whatever reason, are you just not that good in the postseason? But from there on out, he was great. 2 strikeouts in the third inning. He had a strikeout in the fourth inning. He had a couple of strikeouts in the fifth inning. And he struck out the last batter he faced, Carlos Correa. Honestly, if you want to question anything that Dusty Baker did in this game, it might have been pulling Justin Verlander from that game after the 6th inning because the bottom of the Twins order was about to come up. But you're thinking you bring Hector Neris into the game, you're going to be fine, right? Because Hector Neris, for the Astros, has probably been one of the most reliable relievers they've had. But Jesus Christ, that wasn't good. That was fucking concerning. So he hits the first batter he faces. He allows a single, gets a couple of strikeouts, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to get classic Hector Neris. He's going to go off the mound. Hopefully he doesn't try to dry hump anybody or say any homophobic slurs, allegedly, like he's allegedly did with Julio Rodriguez. But then all of a sudden, he just gives up an absolute fucking bomb of a home run, and the next batter, too, hits another bomb. Fuck! That was what I was thinking, and I know that's what you were thinking. The whole crowd was thinking it. I gotta say, side note, Minute Maid Park's become some wine and cheese motherfuckers. And I hate to call out a crowd, but as the bandwagon prophet, the person who is leading you on this great journey, as we try to see the Astros repeat, y'all got to step your fucking game up. I thought in the first inning, with 2 outs and a couple of strikes, I thought you did a good job. From there on out, I don't know where the fuck your head's at. Up 5-0 after that 3-run home run. You got no one to look at but yourselves. And I'm not blaming this for Hector Neris allowing the home run. But with 2 outs, you would think that with 2 guys on, and it's the 7th inning, you smell blood, you would think the whole crowd would be on its feet with the fucking towel things that they gave out. Nope, you weren't. You were quiet. And next thing you know, 3-run home run. Is that the reason? I don't know. Truly, I don't know. And I'll admit, as a guy who grew up in Massachusetts, those who listen to me long enough, you know I'm a Patriots fan. Patriots fans have kind of done this too. You start winning, it changes, tickets get more expensive, prices out maybe the most diehard fans. But that was one spot where I feel like all Astros fans should look at themselves in the mirror. It should have been better in that spot. It should have. You got to be louder. And, you know, I saw all sorts of coverage of this series with some absolutely fucking asinine takes on the best players on the Astros going into the postseason, where for whatever reason, there was just one, I think, Astro in the top 10, and it was Justin Verlander. But I also saw something else where it talks about, like, the best memories for Astros fans at Minute Maid Park, and these fuckers couldn't think of anything over the last 6 ALCS appearances, 4 World Series appearances. They brought up, like, Chris Burke hitting a home run, and I think they ranked Astros fans 5th of the 8 fan bases remaining going into this postseason. But honestly, I don't blame them for that entirely, you know? Like, maybe the memories list that you have is a reflection of how shitty national baseball coverage is, or perhaps a concerted effort to not acknowledge what has happened with the Astros from 2017 through 2023. But you guys got to step your game up. So Hector Neris and fans, those are the only 2 things I would point at in this game with any frustrations. But Yordan Alvarez, I haven't even talked about him yet. Fuck, that guy's so good. How did they get him for like 5 cents from the Los Angeles Dodgers? Who's the fuck are they traded? Like Josh Fields? No offense to Josh Fields. I don't even know what the hell his name is. I don't know who he is. I looked down twice. He hits 2 home runs, and it's so crazy how good he is off of lefties. And after the game, I went into the press conference room, and we're sitting back, and we're watching Yordan, and he's fielding all these questions about, like, oh, what is it about going up against lefties that makes you so good? What is it about being in the playoffs that makes you so good? In clutch situations that makes you so good? And every single question he said, like, yeah, everything's the same to me. So I guess he's just cool as a cucumber. But, man, it really felt like the Astros finally have flipped a switch going into this postseason, at least at Minute Maid Park. That was, I thought, a really good win. You got great starting pitching. You got really good defense, which isn't going to get talked about a whole lot, but I thought the Astros defenders made some really good plays out there. And here we are. Astros up 1-0 on the Minnesota Twins. Let's read some comments. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Altuve set the tone with the first pitch. Future Hall of Famer. Yeah, you wonder, how good would he have been had he played the entirety of this season? Like, had he not been hurt? Because he's only played 90 games this year. I did a little math while watching this game. I think he would have had 31 home runs if he played a full season. Like, this would have been a year that's a lot like his seasons from 2014 through 2017. And maybe not defensively. There's still some issues there, but that wasn't his fault, by the way, that the ball that hit the bag. Just a nitpick defensively. The only, like, real, I guess, issue that they had in the field. But if he had played this whole season, we're talking about another historic year from Altuve. Piggy 2009 is agreeing with me on the fans. Fishing with Dana from the toxic Twitch of ESPN 97.5. What's up? Sancho Macdos, youtube.com/Paul Gallant. The real fans are priced out. Maybe. Dalton Farine says Crane sponsors fill out a third of the crowd. Also maybe. Which does remind me, Mattress Mac was supposed to throw out the first pitch, and I guess it got scratched. Mattress Firm, the national sponsor of Major League Baseball, they forced him out, and I guess they've done this during the rodeo as well. Mattress Firm maybe has a complex, an inferiority complex with Mattress Mac. And Mattress Mac's been a little annoying with the whole political foray over the last couple of years. But I do think that we are allowed to adopt Mattress Mac as our Astros mascot. After all, who can forget the great lyrics from How About Them Stros by Paul Wall? I remember way back when they tried to disrespect Mattress Mac. Mattress Firm. What the fuck? Not going to let him pitch the first pitch? Is it really that big of an issue? I mean, he is essentially a Houston celebrity. There are probably more worthy people that could do it. I would like to get Megan Thee Stallion back out there, personally. Like we got the opening game of the season. I don't know if any Twins fans are in the chat. Do you regret the "We Want Houston" chants? I don't know how big of a storyline this actually is. I saw Chandler Rome getting pissy about it online, and it made me laugh. I don't think that Astros fans seeing Twins fans who are so polite saying "We Want Houston" is something they need to motivate them to get the first World Series repeat in a really long time. I don't think they need that. But it does make it more fun for us, right? It's almost like a kick in our ass. And again, to go back to the fan performance today, should have gone back to you guys being a little bit better out there. I feel like you brought your C- game, D+. It could be better. Sunday night, you guys going to leave early because you got work on Monday? You better step it up. I mean, there's been so many excuses for Astros fans. Last postseason, some of those games were in the afternoon on a weekday. That's a little tricky. But, I mean, this one's 3:45 on a Saturday. Unless you were so sucked into the Red River shootout, there's really no excuse for you on that front. What else do we have here comments-wise? YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Everyone was not hot, says Piggy209, looking for King Tuck. I think that means the fans. Yeah, maybe they need to turn the air conditioning off. The air conditioning actually was good today. Andrew Ramirez, YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. I don't get why Abreu did not slide to second base. Well, I love it whenever Dusty Baker talks about injuries, but Dusty Baker said something really funny about Jose Abreu, who got hit in the leg. I believe it was the diagnosis was huge old lump in his leg. So it might have been that he's got a big bruise. But I think that Carlos Correa duped him. Truly. It seemed like Carlos Correa made him believe that there wasn't going to be a throw. I just don't think he thought a throw was coming. And the throw came in and he got the tag. Correa even smiled for some who were watching the game on the TV broadcast after it happened. I think Correa just outwiled him. And props to him. Also, you guys handled the return of Correa sort of correctly. The reception when he was introduced as part of the Twins starting lineup, you guys gave him some cheers. His first couple of at-bats, a smattering of boos. You don't need to boo him, do you? Do you need to boo Correa? I like Correa. I don't feel like Correa, Springer, even if you're going up against him in the postseason, I don't think that they're ever supposed to be booed. Ever. And I'm not telling you out of fan, but I don't know. Don't do that, right? He said something interesting before the game that actually had me a little bit nervous because I guess he had dinner with some of the Houston Astros players, and at some point during the dinner, they wished him luck. And I guess Correa at his press conference yesterday said, "Oh, you guys are going to wish me luck? I don't know if you're going to want to wish me luck." But he did have an infield single. That was a bit lucky. I think he had another hit a little bit later. How did Correa do? I feel like Correa might have been the only Twins bat that regularly was doing anything in the game. Off the top of my head. Yep, Correa's was one of three Minnesota Twins who had 2 hits, in addition to Polanco and, of course, Royce fucking Lewis. Don't even pitch to Royce Lewis. You know, after that home run, I get it. You don't expect another home run. But don't pitch to Royce Lewis. That guy's on fire. He's the Twins' best player. Don't pitch to him. How about that? Just a thought. Not a baseball expert. Just saying what I'm saying. Piggy 2009 says, as a woman, I wouldn't mind Megan Thee Stallion myself. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Megan Thee Stallion is hot to everybody. That donk. Woo! Sancho Mactos, Simone Biles needs that first pitch. That would be nice. Let me pipe. What a handle. Neris is your guy in tight situations. Do not give him clean innings. Let me pipe. I'm sorry, I can't get over your handle. Yeah, I don't think that's something to be concerned about going forward, but that was about as bad as I've seen Hector Neris. And the one thing that concerns me from game 1 to game 2, Presley looked great in the 9th inning. You use Neris and Abreu, and this is one of those games where ultimately, did you want to use them? Did you need to use them? Could you have left Justin Verlander out there for one more inning against the bottom of the order? You might have been able to. I know he threw 93 pitches and you want him to be at 100%, but we're in the fucking playoffs. And God forbid I question Dusty Baker, because I get annoyed by the amount of people that go after Dusty Baker this year. It has gotten a little bit old. Like, I get it. There are moments where Dusty Baker does things that make you scratch your head. But from here on out, I think this is where it's actually fair to second guess Dusty on things. For the most part, I thought today was pretty damn good. You put Michael Brantley in there against the lefty, and of course, you have Yordan Alvarez in there against the lefty. And goddamn, Yordan Alvarez is so good. I already muted you is on Twitch, saying hi, Paul. What's up? Twitch.tv/Gallant says. Slimes HXTX is also in here as well. Let Me Pipe says using them means Dusty wants to win in 3. Yeah, but do you trust the Astros starting pitchers after this? That's my big concern. Framber's on the hill tomorrow night. Then it's Christian Javier. And I mean, we have seen isolated incidents where Framber's looked like Framber. He had that no-hitter. Where Christian Javier's looked like Christian Javier against the Orioles not too long ago. But I feel like you're going to need to use your bullpen a lot in this series. I did think it was strange the way that the Twins operated, because I think they scratched their starter not too long before the start of this game. So they put in, and look, I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to anything outside of the Houston Astros. Just bear with me. But they put in Bailey Ober, what a name, and they used 4 of their relievers. Afterwards, I think Rocco Baldelli was very happy that his hitters actually got some hits off of Astros relievers. Yeah, I mean, they had 5 hits off of Neris and Abreu. And, I mean, they had hits early off of Verlander, too. The defense played great. And the Twins are probably kicking themselves because they certainly had a chance to win this thing. Let's see. What else do we have here? I already muted you. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, great win. They can never make it easy for my stress. When will opposing teams learn Yordan doesn't care if you bring in a lefty? It is a great question. Should you bring in a righty instead? Is he actually better against lefties than he is against righties? Because he's really good against righties too. But it is crazy how good he is against lefties. And this lefty on lefty thing, is it because of the scarcity of left-handers and because the ball's going away from the lefty that people are so obsessed with doing that? Probably. It seems like one of those things where it's kind of arbitrary. You're just like, oh, lefty on lefty. Yeah, let's do it. But, I mean, we saw it against the Mariners last year. It was the same fucking thing. Let me pipe, youtube.com/Paul Gallant. Call me crazy, but I see that the rest that they got was good. If we don't beat their starters, we will definitely beat their bullpen. In terms of our pitching staff, the stuff was nasty. Even Neris. I don't know. I think you got to get early on him. I think, and Verlander even said it, that when you have a 1-run lead, you can be a little more dangerous out there. And he talked about how he's a guy who gives up more fly balls. So obviously the double plays, the balls on the ground, that certainly helped him. Dusty Baker brought that up too. I asked both of them about that in the post-game press conferences. But having a bit of a brain fart here. ADD is the worst. What was I talking about again? Oh, you got to get on them early, because I feel like getting a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead, something like that, I really think that helps out with the mentality of a Verlander or a Framber or a Christian Javier. I want those guys calm, specifically Framber. Framber is such a fucking head case. We love him, right? But I mean, Jesus, it's they wear specific uniforms so that he feels like they're lucky. That's one thing. And of course, we've seen him have a couple of meltdowns this year. You know, against Texas, against Seattle. This is a guy that if you give him an early lead, I feel great about it. But if it's nothing through the first, through the second, through the third, it doesn't take much to get him off. He has been very different than he was last year. I don't know what the change is. I don't know if it's the pitch clock or what, but it does feel like he's a little more prone to mini meltdowns out there than he's been in years past. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Jesse comments, don't boo any opponent player. Houston fans don't play that Yankee crap. Go Stros. Well, there's certain players that I think you could theoretically boo. Right? Do they have to be Yankees? Are we above booing? They were booing Correa, so I mean, not great. Not great. Isolated boos, but there were enough boos that were nearby me where I could hear them, and I was like, that's a little loud. I'm in a muted boo. Sancho Macdo says it's 9-0 Diamondbacks over Dodgers. Is it Kershaw on the hill? Some other commenters are talking about it's classic Kershaw. That is my assumption. Holy shit. All right. So here's the headline on ESPN. Dodgers Clayton Kershaw pulled from playoff start after allowing 6 runs in the first inning. How is he so fucking bad in the postseason? Oh, look at this ESPN write-up. Clayton Kershaw's Saturday start against the division rival Arizona Diamondbacks lasted 8 batters in less than 1 inning. By the time he exited with a 6-0 deficit and only 1 out recorded in Game 1 of the NLDS, most of the fans had yet to settle into their seats at Dodger Stadium. Nothing worse than that. Been there, going to a playoff game of your favorite team and they're down like 100-0 in the first quarter. Patriots-Ravens, 2009. We showed up, and there was like 21-0 by the time we sat down because of a weird day of security. Anyway, continues to the write-up. The Los Angeles Dodgers went into the postseason knowing Kershaw would be limited by the tender shoulder that ailed him down the stretch, but they expected him to be effective. Instead, he recorded one of the worst starts in postseason history. That's funny. The other stuff that happened around baseball, and I haven't watched any college football, but good God, I'm so bad at picking games. Just looking at all my picks. I did a horrible job. But I also saw that the Texas Rangers took down the Baltimore Orioles. 3 wins in a row in the playoffs. And the Phillies, once again, beat the Atlanta Braves. Of all the favorites, the Astros the only one on the board with the win. It does not look like the Dodgers are going to be coming back against the Diamondbacks anytime soon, though it is the top of the third. I suppose crazier things have happened. But from the looks of things, the Astros are the only team that had a bye that took care of business. It does make you feel pretty good, huh? Until that meltdown by Neris, that game felt very 2022. And what I mean by 2022 is I didn't feel any anxiety. I didn't feel like they were underachieving. I didn't feel like they could do better. Starting pitching was great. Defense was great. You got some power from your big bats. Like, that's sort of what you were coming to expect in 2022. And I feel great. And we all should feel great. In this one game, the series isn't over. I think Minnesota's a respectable team. I thought that they were able to rally back the way that they did, getting the 4 runs in 1 inning. Shows that this is not going to be an easy out. I think I predicted on the air a sweep, but I was caught up in the moment. You know, I had a orange and blue pants 10. Okay, just let me get hyped. Let me try to lead you forward into the vanguard, into these playoffs. But I feel great coming out of this game, especially taking a look at what's happening around baseball. I already muted you, says, your shirt looks very Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah, it does, actually. This is supposedly a Texas shirt. It's from, like, Raised by Coyotes. Lyndon Arhart, Clash at Kershaw, Sando MacDose, Kershaw got waxed. That's at youtube.com/Paul Gallant. Paige McGilvray says, Framber needs to pitch a deep innings game tomorrow, if at all possible. Yeah, I agree with you there. I agree with you. I don't want to see the other bullpen arms. And Kendall Graveman not on the postseason roster, Hunter Brown on instead, which is surprising, given what we've seen from Brown of late. Probably in there as a long reliever or something like that with Urquidy. But, I mean, who are they going to use? We're probably going to see Montero tomorrow, aren't we? Fuck. Ugh. I don't want to see Montero ever again. What else do we have? Twitch.tv/Gallant says. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Let Me Pipe says, Braves going to choke. Orioles might take tomorrow if their starter has it together. And if the Diamondbacks win another, we might have to talk about them being the team of destiny this year. Doubt it, though. I'm skeptical. Perhaps this is me paying too much deference to the Dodgers. I'm not going to lie. It would kind of suck if we're stuck with another Philadelphia series. I don't want to deal with those fuckers again. I don't want to deal with my Philadelphia half of the family pretending they know baseball, even though they didn't pay any attention to it all year long like they did last year. For those who don't know, I was born in Massachusetts. Half of my family is from Boston. The other half of my family is from Philadelphia. The Philadelphia side of the family loves to give me shit over sports. I don't give it back because I've, as a Patriots fan, I've won a lot in my life. Me, personally. Thank you, Tom Brady. But I don't want to deal with Phillies fans again. They seem to be pretty hot, though. And they had the Braves number in the postseason last year. I think if you're the Braves, you're feeling pretty nervous today. That is the scariest team in the postseason. No doubt about it. The Braves have been awesome. But there is a part of me that looks at the Dodgers and I'm like, I mean, you're supposed to be here. Are you really going to blow another opportunity to potentially play the Astros in the World Series again with all that fucking bitching that you guys did after the cheating scandal? By the way, so we talked about this on Friday too, and since our show was on remote, I didn't get to post any clips to YouTube of it. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Subscribe, please. I watched that Ben Ryder Frontline documentary on PBS about the Astros sign stealing scandal, and it sucked. I thought we were going to learn something new. This isn't an indictment on Ryder at all. It's more, we didn't learn anything new. And we all wanted to learn things that are new. And I think this was for people that maybe hadn't read his book and hadn't really followed the coverage of the Astros sign stealing scandal afterwards. It sucks that it was released like right before the start of the playoffs, though. I don't think it's a distraction anymore. It's just an annoying sub-story. But, I mean, Ryder in that documentary, there's this one point towards the end where I was hoping, all right, did they take a look at any other teams? And he said, like, yeah, it's no one knows for sure if other teams did it. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we kind of do. We kind of do. I mean, there was that other book by a person that Astros fans don't seem to like all that much, Evan Drellick, that seemed to indicate that the Dodgers were doing some shit and that the Yankees were doing shit too. Faye Vincent in that documentary, fuck off. Everyone needs to be banned for that. How about we find out if we're going to ban everybody? Let's find out how many teams were actually doing it. Again, not to say the Astros were innocent. They clearly cheated. But I think other teams were cheating too. And also, shout out to, what was that guy's name? I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. I'm looking it up right now in my notes from one of the radio shows earlier this week. But Padilla, I think, is it Antonio Padilla? Sorry, guys. I should know this. But my brain is small. Yes, Antonio Padilla. Shout out to that guy. He's fucking loyal. He's throwing shade at Mike Fiers in an AMA on Reddit afterwards. He thought the story came out because Mike Fiers thought we were still using the scheme in 2019 after two of his worst starts against the Astros at home. Probably thought that they were trying to relay signs because his starts against us were so bad, wrote Padilla on Reddit. He sees his ERA blow up after those things and starts and decides that he needs to speak to the media about it. He also thinks that it might have actually negatively impacted the Astros, the trash can banging. And he also very, very, very confidently said that Altuve wasn't wearing a buzzer, which some people need to at least fucking listen to. Anyway, youtube.com/Paul Gallant, twitch.tv/Gallant says. Indrid Cold says, we need Framber to not go crazy. Agree. Jesse comments, I was not surprised that the Phillies were going to beat the Braves. They did it last year, first game of the NLDS. That is true. I'm just saying the Braves seemed like this year like an absolute wagon. Dalton Farine said, remember when our team's offseason used to start at the end of September? Yeah, now the playoffs don't begin until next round, technically. And twins. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me. We're going to do a live stream after every single Astros game. You can check it at youtube.com/Paul Gallant or twitch.tv/Gallant says. It'll be available in podcast form momentarily if you want to listen to the audio version of it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. It's on, from a podcast perspective, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And you can follow me on a bunch of social media if you so choose to. I will be back out there at Minute Maid Park tomorrow night. We'll also have a Texans post-game show, I don't know, like 3:30 or so after tomorrow's Texans-Falcons game if you want to hear my takes on that. So long, farewell, have yourselves a wonderful Saturday, and you'll see me a couple of times tomorrow.